Hey ladies, I want to talk to my new coaches today about Facebook groups. I know that when you first get started, you're added to a bunch of groups, maybe a challenge group, my coach family page, my personal mentor group, and the Dynasty United group. And between all of those, it can be a little bit stressful and maybe even a lot overwhelming. So I want to teach you some tips on how to navigate through these so that you can actually use them as what they're meant to be, which is a resource, but you can be less stressed out and feel like you know how to maximize your time in those groups. So let me actually share my screen with you and I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, the first group that I'm going to show you is the group that can be kind of the most overwhelming because of its size. This is the Dynasty United Coach Family page. You are a part of Dynasty United because I am a part of Dynasty United. My coach, Brittany Leggett, is the founder of this team, and so our entire downline, this is the family that we claim until we decide to branch off and establish our own one day. But this group grows constantly. Right now it's at 2,500 people, so you can imagine that there are tons of posts throughout the day, lots of questions, lots of resources shared, and you are going to get notifications for all of them because that is the default when you're added to a group, that you get notifications for all of the posts within the group. And that, for me, was just too much. And I'm sure for you, just getting started, it's going to be even more overwhelming. So the first tip I'm going to teach you is how to decrease your notifications in those groups. Okay, so on your phone, it's going to look a little bit different than it would on a computer. So you'll just kind of have to play around with it. But both of the options are available on mobile and desktop view. So right here it says notifications. You can see that there's a blue check mark, so I've actually opted for something. If you click on that notification, you can choose to see all posts, which is what you're already going to be, what's already going to be selected. You can choose to see the highlights, your friends' posts, or you can turn your notifications off. I've chosen the highlights. I could have also chosen friends, which would have meant for me that any of my friends in this group, I would have only seen their posts, or I could have turned it off. For me, I don't mind having the highlights, and I've learned how to kind of scroll through my notifications and see what's important to look at first. But it's up to you, whatever you're most comfortable with. Now, when you change these notifications, that doesn't mean that you can't come into the group on your own time whenever you need to and look in this group. You can. This group will always be open to you. This is just a matter of what kind of notifications do you want in that red circle with the number in it. All right, so that's the first thing I want to teach you. The second thing I want to teach you is about how to add these groups to your favorites so that you can view them. See over here on the sidebar, those are my favorited groups. Your phone has that option too. It just makes it much easier to find. If you click on these three dots here on your phone, it's a little different, but you can still do it. I've already added it to my favorites, so normally it would say here, add to favorites. For me, it says removed because it's already one of mine. But if you add it to favorites, it'll make it much easier for you to find this group. Okay, the last tip I want to share with you is how to search these groups. When you're first getting started, you have tons of questions, which is so normal. You're going to be running into customers and potential coaches that have questions for themselves that you need to ask and find an answer for, or maybe you got questions for yourself on how you run and operate this business, how to invite, things like that. So in this group, I can tell you, since it is a 3-year-old group with 2,500 members, somebody has probably asked it before. So instead of you typing your question into this group and having to wait for an answer, let me show you a way that you can be proactive and find out if someone has already answered that question before. Again, this is available on your phone as well, but on the computer it says, search this group with a little magnifying glass beside it. If you have a question, for example, can you drink Shakeology while you're pregnant? When you type that in and hit the search button, any post about Shakeology and pregnancy together is going to come up here for you. And you can see it has been asked many times before. It is a very common question. Maybe you have a question about people using the products when they have thyroid concerns. Again, you can scroll through here and they have talked about it before. So don't necessarily just type your question first in the group and wait for an answer. Try this. Try using this resource. Chances are somebody's asked it before. So get creative with that search bar. And then within the groups themselves, make sure that you check out the file section. Questions about taxes, team call links, power hours and trackers, things like that. People share their resources in here, guys. So there are going to be things that you don't need to recreate yourself. You can just use them in here and potential answers to your questions. So make sure you check out the file section. And then within each group, there's a photo section where you can view albums. And sometimes there are result photos that people have allowed you to share, logos, things like that. Okay, so that's in the Dynasty United Coach Family page. I also have my own Coach Family page and my own personal mentor group page that you're probably a part of, and it operates the same way. You can change the notifications. For me, I want to see all the posts. You can add it to your favorites. Mine is already on my favorites. And then there's a file section. There are photo albums, and there's the option to search this group. Maybe you have questions about military enrollment. Let's see. People have talked about, here we go, military waiver. Here it is, military coach dependent or veteran enrollment process. So, and there's even more results too. So anyways, guys, those are just my tips. I want you to be the least overwhelmed as possible. I know that when you get started, there's so much information to process. I just want to make sure that you're able to do it on your own time. So just pace yourself, go into your groups and check out your settings and edit whatever you need to, and let me know if you have any questions. Bye, you guys.